Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs 6th meeting of Niti Aayog Governing Council, says the spirit of competitive and cooperative federalism should be not only among the states but also among the districts. Nation has made up its mind to progress rapidly and does not want to lose time, says Prime Minister. India and China discussed disengagement issue at the 10th round of Corps Commander level talks. 125 companies of central forces to be deployed in West Bengal in view of ensuing assembly election, says Election Commission. Government approves new schemes for industrial development worth 28,000 crore rupees for Jammu and Kashmir. GST compensation shortfall released to states reaches 1 lakh crore rupees. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 97.27%. More than 1 crore people have been vaccinated. 24-hour curfew imposed in 10 villages in Pandharpur in Maharashtra from midnight of Monday to contain COVID. G7 leaders pledged to intensify global cooperation to help poor nations with COVID-19 vaccine sharing under COVAX initiative of WHO. World-famous Khajuraho dance festival begins today in Madhya Pradesh. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh on their statehood day. And in Australian Open tennis, Naomi Osaka of Japan takes on American Jennifer Brady in women's singles final today. Match starts in a short while from now. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today stressed that centre and states should work together and make cooperative federalism more meaningful. He also urged to bring competitive cooperative federalism not only among states but also among districts. In his opening remarks at the 6th meeting of the Governing Council of Niti Aayog, Mr. Modi said India has made up its mind to progress rapidly and does not want to lose time. He said the positive response received for this year's budget has expressed the mood of the nation and the youth is playing a pivotal role in setting the mood.
इस वर्ष के बजट पर जिस तरह का एक पॉजिटिव रिस्पांस आया है, चारों तरफ से एक नई आशा का वातावरण पैदा हुआ है, उसने जता दिया है कि मूड ऑफ द नेशन क्या है। देश मन बना चुका है, देश तेजी से आगे बढ़ना चाहता है, देश अब समय नहीं गंवाना चाहता है और कुल मिलाकर के देश के मन को बनाने में देश का युवा मन बहुत बड़ी भूमिका अदा कर रहा है और तभी ये बदलावों के प्रति एक नया आकर्षण पैदा हुआ है।
Mr. Modi said Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign is the way to build an India that produces not only for its own needs but also for the world.
आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान एक ऐसे भारत का निर्माण का मार्ग है जो न केवल अपनी आवश्यकताओं के लिए बल्कि विश्व के लिए भी उत्पादन करे और ये उत्पादन विश्व श्रेष्ठता की कसौटी पर भी खरा उतरे.
The Prime Minister said the country's private sector is also coming forward with energy. He said the fund allocated for infrastructure in the current budget is highly appreciated and it will generate employment for thousands. Mr. Modi said since 2014 over 2.4 crore houses have been built in rural and urban India. He said another innovative initiative is going on in which houses are being built by modern technology in 6 cities.
देश में अभी हर गरीब को पक्की छत देने का अभियान भी तेज गति से चल रहा है. कुछ राज्य बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, कुछ राज्यों को अपनी गति बढ़ाने की आवश्यकता भी है. 2014 के बाद से देखें तो गांवों और शहरों को मिलाकर 2 करोड़ 40 लाख से ज्यादा घरों का निर्माण पूरा किया गया है. आपको मालूम है देश के 6 शहरों में आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी से घरें बनाकर एक अभियान चल रहा है. 1-8 महीने के भीतर भीतर नई टेक्नोलॉजी से तेजी से अच्छी क्वालिटी के मजबूत मकान बनाने की दिशा में देश के 6 शहरों में नए मॉडल तैयार होंगे, वो भी इस काम के लिए हर राज्य को उपयोगी होने वाला है।
Mr. Modi highlighted over 3.5 crore rural households have been connected with piped water connections.
पानी की कमी और प्रदूषित पानी से होने वाली बीमारी लोगों के विकास में बाधा न बने, कुपोषण की समस्याओं को वो बढ़ाए नहीं, इस दिशा में भी मिशन मोड में काम हो रहा है। जब जल जीवन मिशन शुरू होने के बाद से पिछले 18 महीनों में ही 3.5 करोड़ से भी अधिक ग्रामीण घरों को पाइप वाटर सप्लाई से जोड़ा जा चुका है। गांवों में इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी के लिए भारत नेट स्कीम एक बड़े बदलाव का माध्यम बन रही है। ऐसी सारी योजनाओं में जब केंद्र और राज्य सरकारें मिलकर काम करेगी तो काम की गति भी बढ़ेगी और अंतिम व्यक्ति तक उसका लाभ पहुंचना भी सुनिश्चित हो जाएगा।
The Prime Minister said the central government has introduced production-linked incentive PLI schemes for various sectors. He said this is an excellent opportunity to increase manufacturing in the country, and states should also take full advantage of this scheme and attract more and more investment. He said policy framework and cooperation between centre and states is also very important. Mr. Modi said a holistic approach has been adopted over the years, from agriculture to animal husbandry to fisheries.
युवाओं को अपना सामर्थ्य खुलकर दिखाने का भी हमें मौका देना होगा। कुछ महीना पहले ही कुछ महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय किए गए, उसकी चर्चा बहुत ज्यादा नहीं होती है, लेकिन इसका परिणाम बहुत बड़ा होता है। OSP रेगुलेशंस को रिफॉर्म किया गया था। इससे युवाओं को कहीं से भी काम करने की फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी मिली है। मैं अभी पिछले दिनों IT सेक्टर के लोगों से बात कर रहा था। मुझे कईयों ने बताया कि उनके 95% लोग अब घर से ही काम कर रहे हैं और उनका काम अच्छा चल रहा है। अब देखिए ये कितना बड़ा बदलाव आ रहा है। हमने इन चीजों पर बल देना होगा। हमें ऐसी जो बंदिशें हैं उन सारी बंदिशों को समाप्त करना चाहिए। काफी मात्रा में हमने पिछले दिन रिफॉर्म करके किया भी है। आपने देखा होगा कुछ दिन पहले हमने एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय किया है।
The Prime Minister said every state and every district in the country has a speciality and potential, and the government is shortlisting and value-adding to these thousands of products hailing from different districts through marketing for exports. Mr. Modi highlighted that in the past few years, opening of bank accounts, increase in vaccination and health facilities, free electricity connection, free gas connection to empower the poor has reflected a phenomenal change in their lives.
हमारे देश के गरीबों को एम्पावर करने की दिशा में बैंक खाते खुलने से, टीकाकरण बढ़ने से, स्वास्थ्य सुविधा बढ़ने से, मुफ्त बिजली कनेक्शन मिलने से, मुफ्त गैस कनेक्शन, मुफ्त शौचालय निर्माण की योजनाओं, उनके जीवन में, खास करके गरीबों के जीवन में एक अभूतपूर्व बदलाव नजर आ रहा है। देश में अभी हर गरीब को पक्की छत देने का अभियान भी तेज गति से चल रहा है। कुछ राज्य बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, कुछ राज्यों को अपनी गति बढ़ाने की आवश्यकता भी है।
The Prime Minister urged to focus on storage and processing of agricultural products to reduce wastage. He stressed on the need to export processed foods rather than raw foods to increase profits. Mr. Modi said reforms are very important for our farmers to get the necessary economic resources, better infrastructure and modern technology.
साथियों, कृषि अपार क्षमताओं से भरी है, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ सच्चाइयां हमें स्वीकार करनी होगी। हम कृषि प्रधान देश कहे जाएं, उसके बावजूद भी आज करीब 65-70 हजार करोड़ रुपए का खाद्य तेल हम बाहर से लाते हैं। ये हम बंद कर सकते हैं, हमारे किसानों के खाते में पैसा जा सकता है, लेकिन इसके लिए हमारी योजनाएं उस प्रकार से हमें बनानी होगी। हमने पिछले दिनों दालों में प्रयोग किया, उसमें सफलता मिली। अब दालों को बाहर से लाने में खर्चा हमारा काफी कम हुआ है। ऐसी कई खाद्य चीजें बिना कारण हमारे टेबल पर आ जाती है। हमारे देश के किसानों को ऐसी चीजों को उत्पादन में कोई मुश्किल नहीं है, थोड़ा गाइड करने की जरूरत है। और इसलिए इसके लिए जरूरी है कि सभी राज्य अपनी एग्रो क्लाइमेटिक रीजनल प्लानिंग, उसकी स्ट्रेटेजी बनाएं, उसके हिसाब से किसान को मदद करें।
The goods and services tax GST compensation shortfall released to the states has reached to 1 lakh crore rupees. The Ministry of Finance, Department of Expenditure has released the 7th weekly installment of 5,000 crore rupees to the states to meet the GST compensation shortfall. Out of this, an amount of more than 4,730 crore rupees has been released to 23 states, and an amount of over 269 crore rupees has been released to the 3 union territories with Legislative Assembly, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir and Puducherry. The remaining 5 states, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Sikkim, do not have a gap in revenue on account of GST implementation. Government has announced a new central sector scheme for industrial development of Jammu and Kashmir. The scheme is approved with a total outlay of 28,400 crore rupees. It will be effective from 1st of April this year and will remain in force up to 31st of March 2037. The main purpose of this scheme is to generate employment which directly leads to socio-economic development of Jammu and Kashmir. The scheme is made attractive for both smaller and larger units. Smaller units with an investment in plant and machinery up to 50 crore rupees will get a capital incentive of up to 7 crore 50 lakh and get capital interest subvention at the rate of 6% for maximum 7 years.
Today is the statehood day of Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah and Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar have extended greetings to the people of Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. Arunachal Pradesh became a full-fledged state on February the 20th, 1987. Similarly, Mizoram became the 23rd state of India on February 20th, 1987 with the 53rd Amendment of the Indian Constitution, 1986. Our Itanagar correspondent has filed this report on celebrations in the state.
The main celebration was held at IG Park in Itanagar. Addressing the gathering, Chief Minister Pema Khandu said that Arunachal has more potentials than challenges. He said connectivity was one of the main challenges in the state, but now things are changing. He said after becoming Prime Minister, when Mr. Modi came to Arunachal in 2015, he brought train connectivity along with him. He informed that the 600 megawatt Kameng hydroelectric project is complete and will be soon inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He advocated that if development comes without affecting or disturbing the indigenous people, such development should be welcomed. He said in the coming days, the state will explore the potential of hydropower in the state and will convert it into revenue. On the occasion, Governor, retired Brigadier Dr. B.D. Misra, flagged off 20 emergency ambulances for various districts. Rakesh Dole, AIR News, Itanagar.
In the Union Territory of Puducherry, the 4th session of the 14th Legislative Assembly will reassemble for a special session on Monday, the 22nd of February. More from our Puducherry correspondent.
In a press communique, the Assembly Secretary Munusamy said that the session will commence at 10 hours in the Assembly Hall. In the 33 members house, including 3 nominated MLAs, the strength reduced to 28 following the resignation and the disqualification of 5 members from ruling Congress party. With the latest development, both the ruling Congress DMK alliance and AIDMK BJP alliance have 14 MLAs each. The Congress has 10 MLAs besides 3 DMK MLA and an independent supporting the ruling coalition. The opposition comprises 3 nominated MLAs of the BJP, 7 MLAs of NR Congress and 4 of AIADMK. Following the sudden political development, a 14 members delegation of the opposition parties submitted a memorandum and requested the Lieutenant Governor to order the Chief Minister Narayanaswamy to prove his majority in the Assembly. The Puducherry Lieutenant Governor Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan directed the Chief Minister Narayanaswamy to prove his government's majority on the floor on February 22nd. Chandramohan, AIR News, Puducherry.
In view of the ensuing assembly elections, a total of 125 companies of Central Forces will be deployed in West Bengal by the 25th of February. 12 companies of Central Forces have reached Durgapur of West Bardhaman district this morning. 60 companies of CRPF, 25 companies of BSF, 30 companies SSB and 5 companies each of CISF and ITBP will be sent to the state. The forces will lay stress on area domination, especially in the sensitive zones. The state police and senior officials of the district administration will be assisting them. The security personnel will send daily reports to the CEO. Elections to the 294-member West Bengal Assembly are due in April-May. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Assam and West Bengal on Monday. He will dedicate important projects of the oil and gas sector to the nation in an event organized at Shilapathor in Dhemaji, Assam. Mr. Modi will lay the foundation stone for engineering colleges during the event. The Prime Minister will inaugurate several railway projects in Hooghly, West Bengal. The extension of metro railway from Noapada to Dakshineshwar will be inaugurated. This 4.1 kilometer extension has been constructed at a cost of 464 crore rupees.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs 6th meeting of Niti Aayog Governing Council, says the spirit of competitive and cooperative federalism should be not only among the states but also among the districts. The nation has made up its mind to progress rapidly and doesn't want to lose time, says Prime Minister. India and China discussed disengagement issue at the 10th round of core commander level talks. 125 companies of central forces to be deployed in West Bengal in view of ensuing assembly election, says the Election Commission. Government approves new schemes for industrial development worth over 28,000 crore rupees for Jammu and Kashmir. GST compensation shortfall released to states reaches 1 lakh crore rupees. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 97.27%. More than 1 crore people have been vaccinated. 24-hour curfew imposed in 10 villages in Pandharpur in Maharashtra from midnight of Monday to contain COVID. G7 leaders pledged to intensify global cooperation to help poor nations with COVID-19 vaccine sharing under COVAX initiative of WHO. World-famous Khajuraho Dance Festival begins today in Madhya Pradesh. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh on the Statehood Day. And in the Australian Open tennis, Naomi Osaka of Japan takes on American Jennifer Brady in the women's singles final today. Match starts in a short while from now. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News. More than 1 crore 7 lakh beneficiaries have been administered COVID-19 vaccines in the country so far. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry today informed that a total of 5,27,197 beneficiaries have been inoculated with COVID-19 vaccine doses in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate reached 97.27%, with a total recovery of more than 10,307 patients within 24 hours. The ministry said more than 1 crore 6,78,000 patients have already recovered from this disease, and there are 1,43,127 active cases in the country, which comprises only 1.30% of the total positive cases. A total of 13,993 new cases have been reported in the country in the past 24 hours, taking the cumulative positive cases to over 1 crore 9,77,000. The Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai Chief Iqbal Singh Chahal today said that rise in fresh cases of COVID-19 is due to the doubling of tests. Meanwhile, a 24-hour curfew has been imposed in 10 villages of Templetown, Pandharpur from the midnight of the 22nd till the midnight of 23rd February. The decision has been taken in view of the Magh Yatra in Pandharpur. Talking to AIR, Mr. Chahal said there is no need to worry. He said the situation is under control. As many as 823 new cases of novel coronavirus were recorded yesterday in Mumbai. We have more in this report from our Mumbai correspondent.
Talking to AIR, Additional Municipal Commissioner Suresh Kakani said there is no consideration of lockdown in Mumbai. He also said that suburban train service will run as usual, adding that all the COVID-19 jumbo centers in the city are functional. He said out of the total 959 ventilator beds, 605 are available for the needy. Similarly, the BMC has more than 950 ICU beds available with them. Apart from this, 300 marshals will be appointed to take action against passengers travelling without mask in suburban railways. Also, passengers coming to Mumbai from Brazil will be put in compulsory institutional quarantine. The municipal commissioner said that in comparison to June-July 2020, the spread of coronavirus in the city is still under control. He said the Mumbai police are now been empowered to take action against unmasked citizens. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Rajasthan, more than 7,80,000 health and frontline workers have been vaccinated so far. More than 19,000 beneficiaries have been given the second dose of vaccine. Our Jaipur correspondent reports that 459 vaccination sessions were held in the state yesterday.
27,770 frontline workers were vaccinated in the state yesterday. Similarly, 5,075 health workers were given the first vaccine, while 3,561 health workers were given the second dose of vaccine. 12,093 vaccination sessions have been organized in the state so far. Meanwhile, 93 new COVID cases were reported in the state yesterday. The maximum 25 people tested positive in Jaipur. Apart from this, the number of new infections in other districts was less than 10, while not a single case was reported in 17 districts. The number of active patients in the state is now just 1,269. There is not a single active patient in Churu, Dosa, Hanumangarh and Junjunu districts. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
In an exclusive interview with AIR News, Dr. Rodrigo H. Offrin, the WHO representative to India, spoke to India's stellar role in tackling COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Offrin has lauded India's role in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic as a responder for the world by providing all necessary support to our other countries on ending the pandemic.
India is contributing to the world response, which is so commendable, whether it is for PPE equipment provision, essential medicine provision, but also the vaccines. I think that's so commendable that India has come out providing vaccines to neighboring countries, and also together with it information platform in which this may be rolled out is something for being offered for other countries to consider. So from a responder for the country to a responder to the world, India as a not just a pharmacy for the world, but also a responder for the world, providing all that support to our other countries, our neighbors practically first, and then I'm sure it will redound to a larger impact on ending the pandemic.
For listening to the full interview, tune in to our Spotlight program on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:15 p.m. The News Services Division of All India Radio and its bilingual live phone-in program today will bring you a special discussion program on COVID-19. Dr. Anup Kumar Burman, Director of the Medical Education Assam, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on the toll-free telephone number 1-800-115767. Repeat, 1-800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on a Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR.
G7 leaders have pledged to intensify cooperation on COVID-19 and increase their contribution to the COVAX vaccine sharing initiative. In a joint statement released after a virtual summit last night, the G7 leaders raised their overall commitment to $7.5 billion. The move is expected to boost the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines to poor nations. The 10th round of Corps Commander level talks between India and China are underway on the Chinese side of the line of actual control in Moldo. The two sides are likely to discuss disengagement from other friction points after disengagement from both northern and southern banks of Pangong Lake. The disengagement process of troops of the Indian Army and China's People's Liberation Army from the line of actual control was reached after sustained negotiations at the military and diplomatic level. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh last week said India's strategy and approach during disengagement talks with China are based on guidance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that India will not allow an inch of its territory to be taken by anyone.
The United States has officially rejoined the Paris Agreement. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in a tweet last night said, "It is a good day in our fight against the climate crisis as the United States is once again a party to the Paris Agreement." He said the work to reduce U.S. emissions has already begun and we will waste no time in engaging our partners around the world to build a global resilience. India and Ethiopia have signed two agreements related to visa facilitation and leather technology. The agreements were signed in the presence of Ethiopia Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen Hassen and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Hassen is on a 4-day visit to India from February 16th. Dr. Jaishankar tweeted that he had useful and productive discussions with Hassen on a range of bilateral and regional issues. The two ministers agreed to expand India and Ethiopia bilateral agenda, especially defense, economic, science and technology, digital and cultural cooperation.
The world-famous Khajuraho Dance Festival begins today in Madhya Pradesh. It will conclude on the 26th of this month. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
The Minister of Culture and Tourism of Madhya Pradesh, Ms. Usha Thakur, will inaugurate the globally acclaimed Khajuraho Dance Festival. Significantly, this ceremony will be held once again in the temple complex after a gap of 44 years. This will give the audience a chance to watch the performance amid the aura of the temple. The Khajuraho dance ceremony will start at 7 p.m. daily. Admission to this will be free. The event will begin with Bharatnatyam by Geeta Chandran and her troupe and Kathak by Deepak Maharaj. Principal Secretary Culture and Tourism Mr. Shiv-Shekhar Shukla informed that art lovers will be able to take part in adventure activities also. He informed that the department has made all the necessary arrangements for social distancing as per COVID protocol. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
In tennis, women's singles final at the Australian Open tennis in Melbourne between Naomi Osaka of Japan and Jennifer Brady of US is underway. Naomi Osaka is bidding to maintain her 100% record in Grand Slam finals as she chases a second Australian Open crown. Jennifer Brady is appearing in her maiden Slam final just months after losing to Osaka in the US Open semis. Three-time Grand Slam champion Osaka sealed her place for the final with a straight sets victory over seven-time Australian Open winner Serena Williams. In the mixed doubles final, Samantha Stosur and Matthew Ebden of Australia will clash with Barbara Krejcikova of Czech Republic and Rajiv Ram of US today. The men's singles final will be played tomorrow. The title will set up a blockbuster against world number one and defending champion Novak Djokovic as Medvedev searching for his Grand Slam title.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. National capital Delhi witnessed moderate to heavy fog this morning. The minimum temperature was 10 degrees Celsius while the maximum were around 28 degrees Celsius. Mumbai is having a clear sky. The temperature is hovering around 22 degrees to 32 degrees Celsius. In Chennai, generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature is varying between 24 and 31 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, the minimum temperature is 19 degrees Celsius while the upper level is expected to be 30 degrees. Srinagar is having clear sky, partly cloudy towards evening. The temperature is between 1 and 15 degrees Celsius. Jammu and Gilgit are having clear sky. In Jammu, the minimum temperature is 11 degrees Celsius while the maximum may touch 23 degrees. Leh is witnessing very cold weather as the minimum temperature was -10 and the maximum would be just 6 degrees. Gilgit is seeing wide variation in temperature as the minimum temperature was -1 and maximum would be 20 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad is seeing partly cloudy sky towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 7 and 25 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will rise from a minimum of 10 degrees Celsius and will reach a maximum of 27 degrees.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs 6th meeting of Niti Aayog Governing Council, says the spirit of competitive and cooperative federalism should be not only among the states but also among the districts. Nation has made up its mind to progress rapidly and does not want to lose time, says Prime Minister. India and China discussed disengagement issue at the 10th round of Corps Commander level talks. 125 companies of central forces to be deployed in West Bengal in view of ensuing assembly elections, says Election Commission. Government approves new schemes for industrial development worth over 28,000 crore rupees for Jammu and Kashmir. GST compensation shortfall released to states reaches 1 lakh crore rupees. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 97.27%. More than 1 crore people have been vaccinated. 24-hour curfew imposed in 10 villages in Pandharpur in Maharashtra from midnight of Monday to contain COVID. G7 leaders pledged to intensify global cooperation to help poor nations with COVID-19 vaccine sharing under COVAX initiative of WHO. World-famous Khajuraho Dance Festival begins today in Madhya Pradesh. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh on their statehood day. And in Australian Open tennis, women's singles final between Naomi Osaka of Japan and Jennifer Brady of the US is underway. And with that, we end the midday news.